Allô, allô? Perfect.
This was the piece Over the Water, played by Liquid Soul, music by Water and Air. I think for the audience here, I don't have to explain the instrument, because it's actually inspired by a classical piezometric probe. My name is Daniel Hunkeler. I'm the head of the organizing committee. Dear Congress attendees, dear guests, dear friends, it's a great honor to open the World Groundwater Congress 2024 in the name of the Swiss Society for Hydrogeology, the University of Neuchâtel, the IAH, and also in the name of the local organizing committee. With 1,100 registered delegates from 85 countries, this is truly a global event. In this inspiring venue, many global actors have already met to discuss major societal challenges. Now it's time for groundwater. The large attendance reflects that groundwater is an increasing crucial resource around the world. It shows the momentum of our community. Finally, it also reflects the need to reinforce global collaboration to address the many challenges we face today. We're looking forward to an insightful and inspiring week. We are very honored to have several distinguished guests that give an opening address and represent important governmental entities in the first block. In the Swiss federal government, groundwater is affiliated with the Federal Office of the Environment, and we are very glad that Paul Steffen, its Deputy Director, has joined us this morning to give a welcoming address. Please join us on the scene.
Thank you, Mr. Hunkeler. Yes, dear participants of the Global Groundwater Congress, dear Dr. Kramer, it must be this direction, the President of the International Association of the Hydrologists, distinguished guests, as in my function as the Deputy Director General of the Federal Office for the Environment, it's really a great pleasure to welcome you all here in Davos. Our gathering here underscores the vital importance of groundwater on a global scale. Groundwater is essential for providing drinking water, supporting food and energy production, and maintaining ecosystems. To achieve sustainability, we rely on the expertise of specialists like you, as well as on the broader public's awareness of groundwater as an essential resource. This conference contributes to these goals. Also in Switzerland, ladies and gentlemen, groundwater plays several crucial roles. Groundwater supplies 80% of our drinking water. It is used for agriculture, irrigation. It serves as an energy source for heating and cooling. It supports biodiversity, both underground and at the surface. And in the mountains, groundwater contributes to the beautiful landscapes that are attractive for tourism by forming mountain lakes and springs. Some of these springs develop into large European rivers like the Rhine and the Rhone. Ladies and gentlemen, Switzerland has a long history of valuing water as a resource. The motivation to monitor the hydrological process emerged early on due to the threat of floods and the development of hydropower. Allow me therefore to present briefly the history of hydrometry in Switzerland. The first hydrological monitoring network was set up 161 years ago in 1863. The motivation arose through floods that occurred frequently during that time. It was the end of the Little Ice Age, a cooler climate period marked by the frequent occurrence of precipitation events. By the beginning of the 20th century, energy and economy interest had gained an importance. The energy requirements of industry and of the population increased steadily. This led the expansion of the hydrological network to support hydropower development. From the 1960s onwards, water quality became a significant concern alongside flood protection and hydropower. It is interesting, ladies and gentlemen, that during the same period, political responsibility from hydrometry shifted from the Federal Office for Economy to the Federal Office for Environmental Protection. This illustrates the growing importance of the protection of this valuable resource and of our knowledge about the water cycle. The hydrological monitoring network, therefore, no longer focused just on quantity, but was expanded to quality. From now on, it included also the analysis of natural and anthropogenic substances as well as of water temperature. What about the monitoring of groundwater? The development of the hydrological monitoring towards environmental questions also increased the awareness for groundwater. In the 1970s, the first monitoring network for the observation of groundwater quality was set up accordingly. Monitoring was later expanded to include groundwater quantity. And today, ladies and gentlemen, Switzerland has a comprehensive groundwater monitoring system covering both quantity and quality. Also, the monitoring network accounts for the country's diverse geological, topographical, and meteorological regions. In the recent decades, climate change has altered and increased the challenges regarding water management. We all know enough about this issue. Just hydrometry in Switzerland was born from the constant risk of flooding at the end of the Little Ice Age. New climate conditions force us nowadays to adapt the monitoring networks to new challenges such as drought. The data from the groundwater monitoring network form an essential base for meeting these challenges. Groundwater quantity issues, once rare in Switzerland, are now a concern. Droughts constitute a new type of natural hazard in Switzerland that has barely seen before. Recent events has highlighted this necessity to balance various uses of groundwater during dry periods. In this regard, ladies and gentlemen, long-term monitoring data and forecasts are invaluable for implementing measures and making recommendations. Currently, glaciers still provide an important water supply in summer when the need for water is greatest and drought periods become more frequent in Switzerland. But no, as in many parts of the world, glaciers' ice as storage will become scarce, and the future, and it will be groundwater that will take over this important role. The topic of ensuring good groundwater quality remains a constant challenge. Industrial and agricultural activities introduce new substances in the environment and the water. And thanks to the scientific advancement of analytical methods, more and more of these chemical compounds can be analyzed. The regulation of their handling is an important task of the Federal Office for the Environment. For meeting these challenges, ladies and gentlemen, groundwater data from long-term monitoring networks are really essential. Continuity and appropriate measurement locations are vital in this context. Also, knowing and understanding the ground beneath our feet is key to the sustainable groundwater management. Knowledge about the underground is beneficial for the development of geothermal energy, a driving force in the energy transition. While hydrometry in Switzerland was partly initiated by the interest in hydropower production, geothermal energy is today one of the driving forces when it comes to expanding our knowledge of the structure of the subsurfaces. I would like, ladies and gentlemen, to conclude by highlighting how essential science is for the sustainable management of groundwater. It is by knowing resource more deeply that we can develop better strategy for managing them. And it is with the skills and enthusiasm that characterize the scientific world that solutions to today's and tomorrow's problems can be found. I'm therefore delighted that the Global Groundwater Congress is taking place here in Davos, providing a platform for international knowledge exchange and progress. And I wish you all an exciting and enlightening week in the beautiful mountains of Davos, filled with fruitful exchanges and new connections that will advance our understanding and sustainable management of groundwater. Perhaps you have also the pleasure to see some snowing fall during this week. I asked yesterday people which are local here, they told me it could happen, but the late summertime will be also perhaps take 1 week later. But anyway, have a good time here. Thank you so much. And again, what you are doing, research is so crucial also for politics. Science-based politics, this is one of the solutions for the future, and groundwater is such an important issue for all us of all over the world. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you. I have the pleasure now to introduce the next speaker. Switzerland has a very long tradition with humanitarian aid, with many organizations based in the country, a lot of them in Geneva, like the ICRC. The role of groundwater for humanitarian aid and sustainable development goals will be a focus topic tomorrow. Hence, we are particularly delighted that Silvio Flückiger, the head for humanitarian aid for the Swiss Development Agency, will also give a welcoming address. Please join us on the stage. Just put it.
A newborn baby consists of 80% water, a child of 65, and an adult, as I am, of around 60%. Some more, some less, depending on the physical constitution. It's therefore fair to say we are water. Distinguished delegates, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it's also for me a pleasure to be here with you today at the Congress of the International Association of Hydrologists. Being in Davos always makes me feel a little bit nostalgic. Years ago, I underline, many years ago, I used to play ice hockey in the rink just next to the Congress Center. I understood he also had the chance during the ice-breaking session yesterday to try several sports, and Marc-André told me even ice hockey was on the program. I'm happy that you made it back to this room because it's not evident on such a frozen water. Who am I? I'm it was said, the acting head of humanitarian aid in the Federal Department of Foreign Affairs. We do have representations all over the world, be it in the form of embassies, be it in the form of cooperation office, be it in the form of humanitarian office. I'm therefore very much delighted to see so many delegations coming from all over the world joining us in this event today. The mandate of the humanitarian aid is as simple and complex: saving lives and alleviate suffering. To fulfill this mandate, collaboration is key, and the very composition of this audience shows the strength of this Congress. Practitioners meet academia, they meet the private sector, and they meet, as I am, governmental officials. Ladies and gentlemen, and it has been said by Paul earlier this morning, science and foreign policy is not a contradiction. Sometimes one might think it is, but the contrary is true. Science allows us to make informed, facts and evidence-based decisions, and this is key when it comes to humanitarian aid. In the realm of humanitarian aid, water plays a critical role. We observe with great concern the growing impact of climate change. Science proves that climate change dramatically affects the water cycle. Floods, droughts, wildfires are the dire consequences of this change. The invisible water, the groundwater, is becoming increasingly important in humanitarian action. Groundwater is not just a resource, it is a lifeline. Whether it is a community struck by drought, a region devastated by an armed conflict, or a population displaced as a result of a natural disaster, groundwater often becomes the primary and sometimes the only source of water. In the context of humanitarian aid, the sustainable management of groundwater is therefore not just an option, it's an absolute necessity. Managing groundwater in humanitarian settings is challenging. These challenges are becoming more complex due to climate change, once again, to growing insecurity worldwide and the increasing demand on water. As we face these growing pressures, a more integrated and collaborative approach of expertise and practice becomes critical. The knowledge, research, and innovative solutions developed by academic institutions and the private sector must be effectively translated into practical, and that's very important to me, hands-on actions. At the same time, experiences and insights gained from field operations need to inform and guide academic research. This two-way approach of knowledge is then key when addressing the increasingly complex challenges we face in groundwater management today. Each and every actor has actually its added value to bring in. Academia has the tools to provide deep scientific insights into groundwater systems. The private sector develops initiatives, develops innovative water purification technologies, and on the other hand, practitioners, as I consider myself, probably not in the area of groundwater, but in general, they understand the political and cultural and logistical realities of implementing water projects in some of the world's most challenging environments. Their hands-on knowledge refines academic theories. They assure that solutions are not just technically sound, but also practically feasible. Let me illustrate a concrete example of such a collaboration in Goma, a city in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. For decades, Eastern DRC has been the theater of violent armed conflicts, causing massive displacements towards, particularly to this city of Goma. I've been myself to Goma. I've been living in this region based in Kigali for 4 years, and it's dramatic what you see in the city of Goma. The city's water source, Lake Kivu, is unsuitable for drinking due to high hardness. In addition, bacteriological contaminations are leading to frequent cholera outbreaks as people fetch untreated water. It is in this very context, and jointly with the ICRC, the Swiss humanitarian aid supports the transformation of the water supply system in Goma. Marc-André will be able to tell you much more than I do, but our hydrologists proposed using groundwater instead of lake water. Despite the challenges, an exploration borehole was drilled in volcanic deposits. After 15 months of tireless efforts, at the depth of 250 meters, we found a potential source of water with a flow of 100 liters per hour. This discovery underscores the critical role of hydrological expertise. Without it, we would be relying on unsafe, subsidized water sources. The ability to identify and access safer groundwater has the potential to provide long-term, affordable water solutions for the local community. Ladies and gentlemen, today I urge us all, academics, practitioners, policymakers, private sectors and investors alike, to commit to a new level of collaboration. Let us bridge research, expertise and practice. By working together, we can develop solutions that are not only innovative, but also scalable and sustainable. Scalable because we all know that more than 4 billion people still do not have access to sustainable water supply. And sustainable because we know that most of these 4 billion people do not have access to a safe sanitation system. In the spirit of this Congress, let us recognize that challenges we face are too great to be solved in isolation. Only through collaboration we can ensure that groundwater remains a reliable source for future generations, particularly in times of crisis. I am happy to see that some sessions of this Congress are precisely tackling some of these issues. I'm even more happy and proud that experts from the Swiss Humanitarian Aid Unit, our operational arm of the Swiss government, have made their expertise available and organized a specific session on groundwater in humanitarian settings. This is the kind of innovation we need in order to establish a better collaboration between expertise and practice. In conclusion, I would like to remind us that all of our work here is not just about water, be it on the surface or underground. It's about people. It's about ensuring that in the most desperate solutions and situations, no one is left without this essential resource. Together, through increased collaboration between academia and practice, we can tackle this challenge. Thank you a lot.
This was the piece Saxum by Liquid Soul. Early career hydrogeologists played an important role in shaping this event, and I think this is an important reason why it's going to be really a dynamic event through the week. So we have the pleasure to welcome a member of the Early Career Hydrogeologists Network that was also a member of the local organizing committee, Stephanie Musi. She will also explain a bit what they organized during this week.
Thank you. Dear delegates, dear scientists, dear friends, in the name of the organizing committee and the Early Career Hydrogeologists Network, it's my honor to welcome you to Davos and to our beloved Swiss Alps. Of course, we're all here for the science, and we will have a lot of exciting science this week, there is no doubt. But since we're all here anyway, we might as well take advantage of it and enjoy some of the exciting activities that the organizing committee planned for us on Monday and Thursday evening, as well as the excursions on Wednesday. On Wednesday evening, after the excursions, everybody is invited to the hockey stadium for food and drinks, because besides being known for the World Economic Forum, Davos is actually also home to one of the best hockey teams in the country. And in honor of that, you will have a chance to see the young section play against another legendary Swiss hockey team. As Daniel said before, the ICHN has been heavily involved in the preparation of the conference and the panel discussion this year. But besides this, it has been particularly active in organizing events and activities. For instance, on Thursday, over lunch break, as a team effort with the UNESCO Groundwater Youth Network and the Swiss Water Partnership Youth, we are happy to propose a network workshop for early career scientists, where they will have a chance to collaborate with senior experts to brainstorm and solve some typical case studies from their experience. The spots for that are limited, and I encourage you to look at the website for more info and for the registrations. In addition, participants within the 10 first years of their career are also welcome to join the ICHN Award for the best oral and the poster presentation. The oral presentations will be evaluated by the session chairs, and presenters can enter the competition by informing the chairs before the session that they would like their presentation to be evaluated. QR codes leading to an online form will be available in all the rooms. The poster presentations can be evaluated by everybody, and you can enter the competition by sticking the award logo and a QR code on your poster, and both are available at the information desk. We will award the winner on the closing ceremony on Friday. Finally, all early careers are warmly invited to the ICHN annual general meeting that will take place tonight at 6:30 in room R3 to learn more about the network's activities and to get involved with us. With this, I will give the floor to the next speaker, and I wish you all a scientifically exciting week.
Good. Thank you, Stephanie. Our next speaker is the IAH president, David Kramer, that has really led this organization for many years. Please.
Good morning, colleagues. I want to thank the audio people. I rarely use a headset microphone, and I feel like Taylor Swift. I think, first of all, it's important to thank the organizers of this 51st World Groundwater Congress. These things just don't happen. It's a lot of hard work for a lot of people. And I would like you to join me in expressing our appreciation for all their hard work. Hydrogeology is a noble profession. I hesitate to say that because it sounds somewhat like self-aggrandizement, but it's true. We can make the world a better place as much as any other profession in the world. Many of you are like me, you know, we look at our scientific curiosities, we try and solve problems. Will this well pumping from irrigation dry up village wells? Will contamination from one site go to another? We examine groundwater modeling and aerial photography and many aspects of hydrogeology in our science, transboundary aquifers and whether water's going one way or the other. But we help managers. We help between nations decide how to use water. We promote peace in the world by our actions. And we supply water for those who cry out for what we take for granted. I guess we also get involved in things like field studies. The Karst Commission knows the excitement of rappelling into a cave and Jumaring back out, going to a field site and solving a field problem. But there's a larger context to what we do. IAH is a scientific, educational, and charitable organization. We have thousands of members in over 130 countries. We were established in 1956. We're dedicated to the wise use and protection of groundwater, our precious resource. I'd like to say, if the Earth has a secret, quiet, underground pulse, that pulse of the planet is groundwater. It's the heartbeat that supplies half of humanity with water and is the sole supply of water for almost a third of the people on the planet. It is the circulatory system underneath our agricultural fields and feeds the fountains of industry, providing food security and sustenance for energy. It's really, its veins and arteries go to our cities, but perhaps more importantly, it goes to isolated rural communities far away from water resources, surface water resources. And its capillaries and capillary fringes feed our ecosystems, our springs, our wetlands. 97% of the Earth's liquid fresh water is groundwater, more than 97%. And it's really the last lifeline in the face of climate change and population growth. I want to say a little bit about population growth. I'm older than a lot of people here in the audience. Not everybody, but a lot of you. My parents always told me to respect my elders. There's fewer and fewer of those to respect as I get older. But some would call me old, elderly, aged, long in the tooth. But I prefer to think of myself and my age as numerically robust. Just like the hair on my head is follically challenged. But when I was born, there was 1/3 of the people on Earth than there are now. Population growth is a serious, serious concern that we need to address along with climate change. IH has faced the challenges in the last few years, and some of them are very serious. COVID, of course. It's affected our congresses. Our China Congress and Brazil Congress had to go remote. But the Brussels and the South African Congress and this one are in person, wonderfully so. You may not know it, but Brexit affected our banking very seriously, and we had to change even our governance over the last few years to accommodate the new finance system. Many of you don't know that Cliff Voss, the editor of the Hydrogeological Journal for 30 years, has decided to retire. And he unfortunately can't be here, so we can't thank him in person. But the Hydrogeology Journal now has an impact factor higher than any other journal in the world that's dedicated solely to groundwater. The Secretariat for IH, which has been a mainstay, has had some turnover. And of course, we've had deaths of some of our companions, some of our community, some of our colleagues through the past few years. But we have new strengths, many new strengths in IAH. We have new networks and commissions. We've developed, in addition to our strategic overview series, which is many papers in many languages for decision makers on many subjects associated with groundwater and climate change, groundwater and mining, groundwater and other things. We've developed a new series for hydrogeologists called the Technical Insight Series. It's been spearheaded by the relatively new Groundwater Quality Commission, headed by Dan Lapworth and Thomas Boving. And this Technical Insight Series, the first few issues, deal with PFAS and with microplastics. I would encourage all the young people here to join some of the commissions and networks and work with them. They're really hungry for your new ideas. Over the past few years, we've developed a diversity, equity, and inclusivity statement. And that has been spearheaded a lot by our socio-hydrogeology network. Viviana Ray has been essential in that, and others. We have a new network which has just been approved. It's called LUNA, which is the liaison for the UN activities. We do a lot of work internationally with the UN, and that's headed by several people in the audience here, Alicia Laurie and Kevin Peterson, and there are many other people here involved, Karen Vielhoff and many others, and thank you for that. That's going to be an exciting new international exchange. Our membership is up, our corporate sponsorship is up, and our finances are very secure. And as I mentioned before, our hydrogeological journal has the highest impact factor of anything. We have a new working group that's going to do education and outreach revitalization. Sarah Bork from Australia and Olivia from our secretariat are working on that. And sort of in a fun way, we've also over the last few years developed sort of like the Olympic torch is passed from Congress to Congress. We pass groundwater from Congress to Congress. We call it the groundwater torch. And it's sort of a fun thing. We have a lot of things for the future. We are trying to develop a distinguished lecture series where a lecturer chosen will go around and give talks on professional topics. We are drawing ties closer to not only the United Nations, but our sister groups and our sister societies, and also the Groundwater Project, which is very, very important, and we would like to have closer ties with that important group as well. We have new national chapters which are arising all over. So I want to close with a bunch of thank yous, and I can't thank everybody individually that I would like to, but there are some wonderful people, the Congress organizers, of course, the Secretariat, who some of you know. They'll have a booth out here. Please go and meet them. They are the glue that holds the organization together. The new editors of the Hydrogeology Journal. We have a new chief editor, J.C. Comte. Jean-Christophe is probably in the audience here somewhere, and please go and welcome him. Commissions and networks are one of the keys. If you're new to the organization, you might not realize all the work that our commissions and networks do on managed aquifer recharge and karst and urban hydrogeology and many other aspects, coastal hydrology. And I would like all the people who are in commissions and networks, if you don't mind, would you just stand for a second so people can see who you are? Everybody in commissions and networks, could you please stand up for a moment? Just not only the leaders, but everybody who's involved in the commissions and networks. Let's give these guys a hand because they do a great job. We have many national chapters from all around the world, And the national chapters, we have some new ones that are going to be starting up. There will be a meeting here of the national chapters. Please join in and see what the national chapters are doing. And lastly, in my thank yous, I want to thank the IAH Council, the regional vice presidents from around the world, and particularly the executive committee. These people have donated so much of their time and effort to make IAH a good and strong organization. Again, hydrogeology is a noble profession, and keep making the world a better place. Thank you very much.
This was the piece Crowns of Ice, played with a glass xylophone, which is inspired, well, by the cryosphere. This Congress is the fruit of an amazing engagement of the global groundwater community in the preparation phase, involving many of the network and commissions that were just standing up in the room. When we launched an open call for session proposals about 9 months ago, we received an overwhelming response with 60 proposals prepared by more than 200 chairs and co-chairs, which is the foundation of this event. This week, 50 sessions will take place with over 500 oral presentations, including many invited speakers that share their knowledge. In addition, the posters greatly contribute to this Congress and will be spotlighted with poster pitches directly in the sessions. Throughout this week, we will put crucial topics where intense global collaboration is particularly urgent in the spotlight, with plenaries and numerous focus events. We are very grateful that more than 30 experts have agreed to participate. Already the preparation phase over 6 months led to intense and productive discussion that the moderators and panelists are looking forward to share and carry forward together with you. We made an online tool available, not only to give you the opportunity to provide feedback during the plenaries, but also to carry the discussion on beyond the Congress. So you can comment on these topics also for a certain period after the Congress. Starting today, the rapidly changing mountain cryosphere and its implications for groundwater will be in the spotlight, also inspired by this amazing scenery. Some of you will visit it during the excursions. We already had a small introduction to the cryosphere in the icebreaker yesterday. This afternoon, at 1:30, a cryosphere and mountain hydrogeologist will explore the interdependence between the fields. You can also indulge into an artistic exploration of the cryosphere by entering the sound sculpture at the entrance. We are a little bit proud that we managed to convince the artist to inaugurate these amazing art projects at a scientific congress, not at a famous art museum. There should be also a dialogue between science and policy, but also science and art. You are invited to join the inauguration event at 1 o'clock in the entry area. So this is a view of how this project was made. With climate change, not only the groundwater dynamics is changing rapidly, but of course also groundwater use. There are many alarming reports of depleting groundwater resources that have found much attention in the media. As a community, we have to find ways to prevent or contribute to prevent and reverse these trends, which will be the topic of Tuesday afternoon's plenary. Again, we focus event on conjunctive water management and water stewardship to explore how this can contribute to address the issue. Increasingly, access to groundwater is not only limited by declining groundwater levels, but groundwater quality issues. Being able to drink water right from the spring or tap is deeply rooted in many cultures. And I would say it is a matter of professional pride of hydrogeologists. But in many places around the globe, we are at risk of losing this key advantage of a groundwater-based water supply. We have to act urgently. This challenge will be addressed on Thursday, and again with a unique accompanying event outside the Congress Center from this morning. We have the MS2 field present by EAWAG. It's a high-tech facility with a LC-MS to analyze micropollutants directly in the field, and there will be guided tours. When we think about groundwater protection, mapping approaches is very important. Vulnerability mapping and so on. We think about 2D, but with the increasingly intense use of the subsurface, we have to move from 2D to 4D, the third dimension, but also the time dimension. This becomes particularly important in the context of the energy transition and the transition to a zero net carbon society, which often implies an intense use of the subsurface for carbon storage, heat storage, geothermal energy, radioactive waste disposal. There will be a plenary that explores how we can make these activities compatible with groundwater protection. And this plenary will also be again accompanied by a side event, this time a really exciting lunchtime lecture on one of the longest running projects of CO2 injection in a saline aquifer. The common denominator of all the subjects that we discussed is that we need well-trained experts with the right skills to address these challenges. Groundwater education is in transition. It's increasingly part of multidisciplinary and environmental curricula. Specialized hydrogeology programs seem to become more rare. While breadth has its merits and hydrogeology is inherently multidisciplinary, we have to ensure that there is sufficient depth in groundwater education because the challenges become increasingly complex. We will explore ways to move forward on Tuesday morning, enriched by the result of a tremendous feedback we already got via an online survey. Finally, on Friday, we also discussed the important contribution that research makes and in which direction research should evolve to help solve these challenges. So this gives you an overview to a really exciting program through this week. In addition to all the scientific events, another important aspect is also the exhibition of Congress partners. Already some of the opening speakers highlighted the important contribution not only of academia, but also of industry. And we are delighted that we have particularly innovative companies in showing the products right up in the Congress Hall, and I'm sure we can have very stimulating discussions with them. Also, we have much to discuss, and this Congress venue is really so amazing we could spend the whole week in here. But the surrounding landscape is gorgeous too, and we hope you enjoy it, not only during the Wednesday night, but also to the many evening activities that often take place outside that are offered. And believe it or not, it's raining quite intensely, but the weather forecast for Wednesday looks very promising, should be dry and with some sun. And then on Friday, in the closing event, we want to change the scenery. If we are lucky, we have snow-capped peaks. So we have all 4 seasons in a week. So also more to look forward to. To conclude, to make all this happening, Philipp Brunner, the head of the scientific committee, myself, and the entire organizing committee would thank many people from all our heart, and we already apologize for those we forgot. First of all, moving forward, we would not be here and without the support from a very broad range of sponsors, and you see some of them here, both companies, large companies, public entities, science foundations. We have a really, also not only in the audience, but also among the sponsors, a broad representation of our community and the different participants. So we have here many more companies, research institutions, from all over the world, from Switzerland to Australia, that joined in, and more here. Then we would also especially thank the support of the Swiss Development Agency and the UNESCO that had made it possible to sponsor some attendees, and there are actually quite a few from lower income countries. This is really great to integrate them here in this event. And we would like to thank the members of the Swiss Society of Hydrogeology that played an important role for their enthusiasm to host the event and also, non-negligible, to take the financial risk. And most important, we thank also the Congress staff and assistants, most of them actually hydrogeology students. So if you want to know something about hydrogeology education in Switzerland, talk to one of the young person in the red t-shirt. This also includes the exceptional Davos Congress staff. This is an amazing venue with amazing people. Whatever impossible requests we made, and you will see during the week, we made impossible requests. I don't tell you which ones yet, but the answer was always, no problem. Finally, we would like to thank Liquid for the unique sounds reflecting water in its different forms, and all of you for attending. Now, we still have the pleasure to have afterwards another piece, but before, we would now want to officially open the scientific program. You heard the traditional music instrument yesterday in the hockey stadium, the Alphorn. We have now a very gifted musician that will play another traditional Swiss instrument to open the It's not going to be the last time you hear this sound in this event. This will also be the time marker to indicate 5 minutes before the parallel session starts. We will ring the cowbell in the corridor, and there's no doubt, there's no excuse that you didn't hear it. So I have just, before we hear the last piece, just a very few announcements. So the parallel sessions already start at 10 o'clock. The speakers that haven't uploaded the presentation yet in the parallel session room, please proceed immediately. Another thing, we offer the possibility to book lunchtime table. They seat 8 people for any kind of meetings, informal meetings, if you don't want to stand on a standing table, but really have a spontaneous informal meeting. There's still a few left. Just go to the information booth, book a table under a name. We put a sign on the table. There's a lunch buffet. These tables are upstairs, a little bit in a quieter corner where you can really interact. And third, we have a lot of evening activities this evening, like visiting exciting research institutions like the Snow and Avalanche Research Institution here in Davos that is world-renowned, or a sensor calibration institute you probably never have heard of. There's still a few spots left. Some of them are paying. Those that have registered for a paying event, many of others are free. Please pay over the lunch break to be sure to participate. So then we close with the last piece of music by Liquid Soul. Es kommt. Es braucht einen Moment. Thank you all. Thank you all, and have a good start of the Congress, and meet you up there in the parallel session room. It's very easy, the layout. Just go up this, room 9 and 10 are right on this level. Room 1 to 8 go up to the stairs, 1 to 4 to the left, 5 to 8 to the right. Oh.